let's discuss about the very first concept, that is angle. See, when we say angle, you need to understand we are talking about the general part now, okay? I'm not specifying about radian measure. We are going to understand and discuss about it later anyway. But in general, an angle. See, when I say an angle of 30, the very first question is, okay, 30 degree, we'll assume it to be degree. Now, till now, we have been taught only one type of an angle, that is degree. Now, when I say one type of an angle, let me correct myself. One type of angle measurement, okay, that is degree. Now, there are different ways of measuring an angle. Apart from degree, there are two more. One is called gradian. Okay, so the first one is degree, which we are all comfortable about it because we have been using degree. Now, another one is called gradian, and one more is called as radian. Now, these are the three ways of measurement of an angle. Again, I'll tell you measurement of an angle. Okay, now how do you measure 1 degree? How do you measure 1 gradian? And what is 1 radian? Now, in these three, the gradient measure is not really that important for us. To be honest with you, very, very rare cases we use a gradient measure. Most of the times it's either degree or radian. Okay, now as and when you learn more and more in physics, you're going to understand that radian measure is more important compared to that of a degree. Okay, anyway, now when it comes to degree, now so far whatever we have learned is degree measurement, correct? Now, how we define a degree? For that, we need to understand how do we define a right angle. All of you know what is a right angle. We say 90-degree, correct? That means here, suppose say you have a right angle. Okay, this is right angle. Now we define degree in such a way that you have a right angle, divide the right angle into 90 equal parts. So divide this into 90 parts, equal parts. So every part or each part is what we call as 1 degree. So we define degree with the help of right angle because right angle is the standard measurement. Okay, anything is perpendicular, that's right angle. So you take the right angle and you divide that into 90 equal parts. That is what we call as 1 degree. Okay, now generally, whenever we say an angle is always measured in the anti-clockwise direction. In the sense here, see, this angle is 90-degree, correct? See that this is an anti-clockwise direction. And we always refer as 90-degree. That 0 is the degree, correct? Now, what if I measure an angle in the clockwise direction? Then that angle is what we call as a negative angle. So to define an angle, there are two lines. There has to be minimum two lines, or you can say a ray, segment, whatever. Basically, sort of a line you should have, correct? So first line, the reference line is what we call as the initial line. That means here, generally the horizontal line, this particular line is what we call as the initial line. All right. Then we have another line which makes the angle. That is called as the terminal line. In the sense here, suppose say this can be the terminal line. Alright, so if this is the terminal line, this is going to be the angle. Alright, so this is the terminal line. Terminal line. Now the angle what we are making here, since this is an anti-clockwise direction angle, this becomes a positive angle. Alright, suppose if you measure an angle in the clockwise direction like this, suppose if it is in the clockwise direction, then this particular angle will become a negative angle. Clear? So what we say is that anti-clockwise direction. So let me be very, very clear here. Anti-clockwise direction. This is a positive angle. Alright? And clockwise direction angle. This is a negative angle. Now this is a convention what we use everywhere. Okay, everywhere, even in a protractor. Have you noticed in a protractor? We start from the left side and we go all the way like this. Of course, we do from the right side also. But when you're counting from the right to the left, again, you don't say negative. Of course, I totally understand that. You can do from here and you keep on moving towards the right side. Okay, so when you're doing this way, now think about it. Your reference line is pointing in the opposite direction as what we generally take. Correct? Your reference line itself is in the opposite direction. In the sense, see, what I'm trying to tell you here is that if your reference line is in this direction, if this is in this direction, then anti-clockwise would be this way, which is considered to be positive. Okay? What if my reference line itself is in this direction? Then again we go like this. This will be considered the positive side. With respect to reference line, clockwise and anti-clockwise. That is what I mean by anti-clockwise and the clockwise. Clear? So this is about the angle, in general angle. Okay, now you guys understand what is a degree, correct? Now let's discuss more about degree for now. Very simple. What is degree and how can we further split degree? Is it possible? We'll look into those things now, all right? Now, a degree, whenever we talk about degree, we get a degree from a right angle. We know that, correct? That means here, so let's look at it like this. Imagine we have a right angle. From a right angle, we divide this into 90 parts and we get one part. And one part is 1 degree. We take this 1 degree. Okay, let's zoom it up. So imagine this is 1 degree. Okay, imagine we can split this into 60 equal parts. Each part is what we call as 1 minute. In the sense, see here, what we are doing, this 1 degree is split into 60 parts. 60 parts. And every part is called as 1 minute. So we represent it as 1 minute. Okay. And every 1 minute again can be split into 60 parts. And I think you would have guessed it by now that every part is called as 1 second. That means here, so assume that we have 1 minute here. So this is 1 minute. I can further split into 60 parts, and those 60 parts is 1 second, which we can represent it this way. Alright, that means 1 degree is the same as 60 minutes. Okay, 60 minutes. And 1 minute is nothing but 60 seconds. So an angle can be further divided. Like for example, I can tell you that I have a value of, of an angle. Let's say I have 23 degree, 45 minutes, 32 seconds. See, this is an angle. Do not confuse the minutes and seconds with the time. Okay, it's not the time, it's the angle. Even though we use the same words, minute and second, but do not confuse this with the time. It is the angle measurement what we are doing. All right, so an angle is always measured in terms of degree, minutes, seconds. Clear? Now, 1 degree is 60 minutes, correct? Now we have normal addition, subtraction is also there. But anyway, we are not going for that part right now. But what you need to understand is that suppose if they tell, say 2 degree. Okay, now this 2 degree can also be written as 1 degree, 60 minutes, 60 seconds. But there is small change here. Small change. When you say 60 seconds, it's already a minute, correct? So I have to add another minute. So what you need to understand is here this part will not be correct. Only that part will not be correct. So the correct way of representing 2 degree will be 1 degree, 59 minutes, 60 seconds. Think about it. 60 seconds is 1 minute. So that 1 minute comes here, it's going to add up with the 59 minute. 59 minute plus 1 minute is 60 minutes. 60 minute is how what? 1 degree. It will add up to the 1 degree. So it's going to become 2. Now, this is how we write an angle, especially degree measure. A degree, minute, second. Clear? Now, remember, this we are talking only about the degree and the angle. Okay, we have not even come to the radian measure yet. Okay, now in the next video, we'll understand what is a radian, how do we define a radian, okay, and what is the relation between degree and radian. All these things we'll discuss in the next video.